What's going on, traders? Yes, I know this isn't at the close. I know.
No, it's not.
I know. I already see the people in the chat. Where's at the close? Where's Mr. Joel Conan? We need Joel. Not cool enough, Mitch. but I know.
At least I'm still here. At least
I got Spencer. I tried, guys. I tried.
Yeah, Joel's out until next Friday, guys. So
it's gonna be a sad at the close, but we'll figure it out, right, Spencer?
Yeah, Yogi, I agree. What?
What?
I know.
Ooh, what? All right, let's go ahead. Let's start it up. But definitely, guys. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to have some fun. We'll do some more ticker time also. You guys out there in the chat, you guys got some stocks that you guys want us to take a look at. Spencer has really been nailing those technicals lately. So we're going to have Spencer take a look too. I've been seeing you. Joe calling you out. I see you.
Okay.
Getting that technical game on. But yeah, definitely. We'll take a look at some stocks from the chat. We'll talk about some stories that happened in the week. I mean, for a second there, buy the dip, wins the end, like always, but
I mean, we're going to end up here. Why don't you run the intro and then we'll get into it.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and run the show.
Yeah, all right.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now, we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
So as I was saying, we're going to end up closing at all-time highs here, ladies and gentlemen. Against all odds. Against all odds, we are going to close at all-time highs here. The S&P 500 futures are there. They're at all-time highs. You can look at that. You can look at the SPY. You can look at the index itself. Whatever you want to look at. We're going to close at new highs today. So remember that. And we're going to close just off new highs in the NASDAQ. 8 points off new highs in the Russell, 3 points off new highs in the Dow. I mean, that's what it is. That's it.
Crazy this market. I mean, why ever sell out, right? I mean, it just goes up. At least what the charts are showing. Definitely. SPY. What a strong candle today too. It wasn't even like it was weak. It came down towards the low and really pushed through those highs. Let's take a look here. There you go.
Look at that SPY candle.
Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Daily. Let's go to an intraday. Look at that. Strength. Oh.
The last few times we've pulled back, man, we've come back roaring. Like if you look at I guess that June 18th time with the Bullard, and then you could look a little bit further back on the 19th of May. Same thing.
Every dip is a dip to be bought. You're right.
Boom. And it's not like it's the next day. Usually, I mean, there's only one that doesn't do it, but it gaps even up, like starting to push on up there. So, I mean, that's interesting there.
All right. Thanks for reminding me about that Yogi Bull. I'm after we're done here, I'm going to buy Dennis his gift card. We're about to do that today. Yeah. All right. SPY. I mean, like you can look at the Qs. I mean, it's just strength across the board here. Mostly, not all, but mostly green on the screen, right? I mean, every sector is in the green, but you got some red on your heat map. I think Amazon might be down today. Last I checked, it was. Biogen got hit on some news from the FDA. Some mild red here and there. How is Amazon? Is Amazon even up? I don't even know. Flat, whatever. Down 0.5%. Okay, whatever. Facebook is so strong. Facebook, Nvidia into the split. How about Space? I was watching Space. Did you guys see that Twitter spat between like the official Blue Origin Twitter account and then some engineer at Virgin Galactic going back and forth about, who's really going to space? I think they deleted some of those tweets. But anyway, Space down 6% today, giving back yesterday's gains a little bit into the launch. Mitch, what is on your radar next week?
So into next week, I mean, we're going to be watching. One of the things that I did see come back a little strong today was that retail move. So I wanted to take a look at maybe some retailers. We did see a strong move bouncing back there. So the interesting thing to me is, where's the reopening trade really go? Because I don't think there's no reopening trade. I just think the obvious plays are done. So there's going to be other plays that are going to come out of this. One of the things that I'm looking at is, retailers. I expected to get a lift because you're starting to see a lot of people go out. And with that, I mean, a lot of people hadn't bought clothes for, like, let's say, more than likely over a year. And so they're looking to go ahead and get something new for their wardrobe. I think that's why you're also seeing these stocks get a lift too. But I think that's kind of more of a story outlook. So I'm definitely be paying attention to these, and we'll see if the cruises or the airlines bounce, right? I mean, that's an area that I definitely want to see what's going to happen there, because it's been in such a quick downtrend to the support. My question is, do they get a U-turn kind of look here, or do we kind of start cracking those supports? And if we crack those supports, I mean, where do we stop from there? Because, I mean, it does look – there's like a huge support line, and then underneath that, it's a big fall.
Question from Sanjeev in the chat: how will space launch affect Tesla? That's a good question, Sanjeev. It really is. I mean, it's not a far-fetched thing to think. Okay, if it goes well, then Tesla. It's not rational. It makes no sense because on paper Tesla has nothing. SpaceX is a different company entirely than Tesla, right? They have one thing in common, and that's their founder. But it's not unreasonable to think, oh, the launch goes well Sunday, then Tesla opens higher. Launch goes probably Tesla opens lower. I could see that for sure. I could see that. To Mitch's point about the reopening, well, the cruise lines did all bounce today. I think your question is, does the bounce continue next week?
I almost bought 24 today. I was thinking about it. I put an order out there. I just didn't get a fill when it started going through the 24 mark. But I was thinking about, like you just put, Jets. I was like, why not go for the ETF that's off the support, and I could get a basket of all of them versus just going for one.
Yeah, you know what I always like to do is, if it's like, and I wouldn't do this for like for a day trade, but if I was looking at like a swing trade, I would just say, you know what, screw it. Let's take a look and then pull up Delta, and then let's go. Compare it to AAL, compare it to UAL.
Boom, I like those charts.
Compare it to I'm blanking. Save, JBlue, and what am I missing? I'm missing one more. UAL, AAL, DAL. Oh, Love. There we go.
Okay. The Love.
So maybe I should zoom out. So okay, and I just like to see, okay, like who's the outperformer? And granted, this will change as you mess with the time period a little bit, right? You can see how it changes, how the outperformer changes. But look, just general arbitrary year to date, right? Arbitrarily picking a date on the calendar. American and Spirit are your leaders this year.
Yeah, and I'm kind of weird when I see these kind of charts, Spencer. I like to pick the one that's in the middle. Actually, okay. I feel like it's like the middle between volatility and in between kind of a sideways action. So it gives me at least a little bit of safer risk, but it usually pans out to be in the middle between the top runner and then not being, of course, on the bottom of the trend.
What is the frontier again?
ULCC.
Thank you. I can never remember that one. It's new.
Yeah, no, it's a weird ticker.
They stopped flying like from Detroit to New Jersey, so I don't care anymore.
Oh, that's what happens,
Yeah. Here, let me zoom out on this thing. Okay, so let me zoom out again. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I got your HA on there, Eric.
So I like that. To me, at least in the middle there, it would be like LUV or UAL, and those look interesting to me. So just to stand out by the percentages.
So this is like the thing I like to do whenever I'm looking at like one theme. It could be any theme. You can just stack them up and see who's the leader, who's the laggard. Because at the very least, I'm going to say, okay, ULCC, get off, go away, you're done, right? No interest in that. And this at least gives me an idea of, I like to follow the leader.
Yeah.
And okay, so that's one thing I like to do. You're looking at airlines. I am watching next week, obviously, guys, the banks, right? Duh, right? Earnings. Let me zoom way in. We got bank earnings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank America, Wells Fargo, Citi, Morgan, Goldman Sachs, U.S. Bancorp, BlackRock, PNC, and State Street are all next week. Banks are going to be in focus for me. We know a lot of the times that these bank stocks tend to, if they pop, they will give back their whatever earnings gains they make that day or that morning. They can give them back. This is very often the case with bank stocks. For whatever reason, they tend not to hold earnings gains. I don't know why that is. As far as what I'm paying attention to in the reports, you want to see net interest income. That's a key metric. NII, especially with the more retail focused ones. So, J.P. Morgan, Citi, Wells Fargo. Very curious what they see on the retail, like in brokerage side of their business. Because Morgan Stanley, don't forget, owns E-Trade. So be very curious to see what they say around trading activity. Generally speaking, like what the banks say about trading activity, revenue from trading commissions and trading and their trade desk. That's a good barometer. As if you need another one, but it's a good barometer for how volatile the quarter was, and a good barometer for how crazy the market was. Because obviously the trading income went through the roof last year when everything hit the fan, and it's been on a steady decline since then. But that's what I'm paying attention to. Banks are going to be in focus. Delta Airlines also in focus. They report on, is it Tuesday? I want to say it's Tuesday. Pretty sure it's Tuesday. Yeah, the 14th. That's Wednesday. Wednesday morning. Also watching Pepsi Tuesday morning. And that's it for the earnings. We are back in earnings season. Alcoa also. Alcoa Thursday morning.
That's the one I'm watching.
Thursday PM.
I like that one, Spencer. The chart looks nice.
Let's go to Alcoa, and then we'll go to Bill Strangler in the chat. AA historically used to be like the unofficial start of earnings season. I think now it's the banks. Yeah, this Alcoa chart doesn't look half bad. I mean, it looks very good.
Looks interesting.
Zoom out a little more. Let's go to a weekly. Oh, what a strange looking chart. Wow. Yeah. What a strange looking chart that is.
If I looked at basic materials today, leading is aluminum. So just to give that eyesight, you got aluminum starting to lead the basic materials. So, I mean, that could be a kind of run into the earnings, and then you'll probably see it, of course, they maybe take a hit even on the earnings. So just be careful, because I think there's a lot of times, especially with earnings, I think a lot of people try to get into the stock while the stock goes to the earnings, and then they don't want to hold the stock while it actually gets to the earning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're starting to see that kind of action in aluminum stocks right now.
Okay. Question from Bill. Right, KBE. What do you think? That's the regional banks, right? So, that's the KBE is
Spider
is the regular banks. What's the regional? Is that KBW? Oh, what's the? Hold on a second, I'm blanking on. Anyway, forget that. KBE. What do I think? You know what? Let's do this. Let's look at, and I'm going to go off Benzinga Pro for a second, and I'm going to go into my other favorite tool that I use. And I'm sorry if you hear noise.
What are you trying to see? Regional banks?
Nope. I'm going to my other favorite tool. Okay.
There you go, a little Schwab action.
The ETF screener on etfdb.com. And again, I apologize if you hear any background noise. And I'm going to go to the sector, and I'm going to go to financials, and I'm going to go boom, and let's just take a look at your. I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of leverage ETFs, because we don't care about leverage ETFs for this purpose. For purposes of what I'm doing right now, I don't care about leverage ETFs. All right. Returns. Let's go. Last 4 weeks. Top performing bank ETF. It's a tech one. It's the fintech one. VFIN is your top performing bank ETF in the last 4 weeks. Year to date, we have BizD. I don't know that one. I think it's probably these are all smaller ones. What jumps out to me here? FTXO. That's interesting. The First Trust Nasdaq Bank ETF. FTXO up 25% year to date. Interesting. The perform. It's we're splitting hairs here, right? Because we're talking about 25% versus like 22% year to date. So they're all going to pretty much do the same thing. Let's look at the biggest losers though. See, tech high beta, right? That VFIN is your second biggest loser year to date, but in the last 4 weeks, it's your leader. So let's pull up a chart here of VFIN. I don't know what's in this thing. It's a newer one. Yeah. So this is a great tool that I love to use. This is just a screener tool on ETFDB. This is a feature you have to pay for. I do pay for this, but whenever I'm looking at ETFs, this is the first place I go. Right. What else? KRE's regional. Thank you. KRE's regional. Wow. Okay. So let's stack these up if we can. KRE and KBE. Just out of curiosity, right? Let's go over daily. What is the difference? You tell me. What is the difference there? No difference. Maybe they pay a different dividend, or one is cheaper. But probably not, because they're both spiders. So no difference there. Those charts are identical. Bill Big D, I shouldn't pay for anything. I do pay for that, and I will write it off at the end of the year on my taxes. So.
What is going on in specialty retail?
Oh wait, you guys can't see my my chart. My bad. Here, my bad. There we go. That's what I was looking at. Same chart.
Boom.
Okay. So I'm looking at banks. I'm looking at Virgin Galactic, of course. I'm watching that. That's the one I picked up for our informal Power Hour chat challenge. That's my winner for the best stock of the next week. I'll either come in first or last. How did Newegg do today? Let's get rid of it. Okay, how did NEGG do today?
It's not just NEGG. One of the things is it's specialty retail as a whole. Because if you look at that, you'll start seeing there's a lot of moves in there that are kind of super extended. I mean, I could call some out right now. Just
wait, actually hold that thought though, because we're about to close. So
ding, 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 ding.
We are going to close at maybe not exactly at an all-time high. It'll be an all-time closing high for sure.
Oh, I want to see the imbalances.
Question is, imbalances are probably to the buy side, if I had to assume.
Yeah.
Let's hop into. Let me go on a different screen here.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right, so we just closed at 435. Yeah, all-time high, all-time closing high. Wild stuff right there. We are not. Oh, do we actually just close at a new all? No. Oh my God, Jason. Jesus. What are you doing, man?
Gotta get them. Gotta get them when you can get them.
What are you doing? What all-time highs here, all right?
What all-time highs, man? We're talking stocks.
You just blew air in my face.
Hey, Money Mitch and ETF and Spence. We got your new nickname.
ETF and Spence. That's good. God. Okay, I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
Spencer flustered. I've never seen this.
I mean, he freaking just blew air in my face. So
he was trying to get you a little action, but yeah, no. We were talking right now. We were checking the imbalances on the SPY. We're gonna see how that's looking, and we're gonna close at this all-time high, and then also start taking a look at some specialty retail and see if that NEGG move is anything to pay attention to.
All right, as far as your overall market here today, so the S&P closed at 1%, all-time highs. Like I said, NASDAQ closed up 0.2%, give or take a few points. Not at all-time highs, but pretty damn close in that. The Russell up 2%, but lagging the rest of the group here, about 8 points off all-time highs. I'm looking at the ETFs, not the indexes themselves. And the Dow Jones, they all closed up 1.25% today, and 3 points off the all-time highs there. Every index in the green. Banks was your leader, up 2.8%. Your XLF, your leading sector today. Your laggard was utilities, which were flat. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, Chris says we have too much fun at work. See, it's all fun, Chris, until like it's not fun. When like you get like super stressed. When you get like a 3 a.m. email or text from Jason, that's not as fun.
Yeah, you don't want to hear from Jason in the evening.
That's not as fun. Okay, so and I'll tell you why we're all in a good mood, Chris. We're all in a good mood because we just came off our quarterly team meeting that happens once a quarter. So basically, and that ended at like 3:00. So for the last hour, a lot of people have not been doing anything.
I thought we just ran out of margarita mix like Jim Stocks.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim, I'm with you. Okay. So what I'm trying to get through my catalyst for the week. So I mentioned the banks. I mentioned space. There's one more. What was I going to say? Damn. Oh, Microsoft has an event. That's what it was. Microsoft has
what?
Is
it cloud-based?
I don't even really know, honestly. I just know it's Wednesday. I just know Microsoft. They had so many events, but Microsoft event on Wednesday. That's on my radar as well. And there's no major numbers next week. No Fed, no OPEC. Western Dig, WDC has a investor day on Thursday. So don't forget about that. And next Friday is the third Friday of the month. Wait. Yeah, they're Friday. Okay, so next Friday is the third Friday of the month. Watching for monthly options expirations. And I think that's it.
So at least DraftKings got a little bit of positive news from the MLB. They're going to be pushing on their platform. They're going to be giving some live access to an MLB game in their platform.
Okay.
Not the worst. I'm really waiting for these gambling stocks to get back roaring. I'm really thinking Q3, Q4 is really when they come back. And I mean, I think it's football to really get them going, but we'll see how that kind of affects. One thing that I did want to state, though, I mean, man, there were so many people trying to give like an answer to the drop yesterday.
There's no one reason. And that's normal, I think.
That's normal, but and I love how Dennis called it out on pre-market prep. Someone was trying to throw it on the treasury, and the other guy's like, "No, it's COVID. No, it's the Delta." No, tell you the truth, nobody knew.
Yeah, yep, that's the truth. That's the truth. Also watching Biogen here, they got hit with the midday headline from the FDA that they're looking into.
Boom.
What was the actual headline? Let's just read from the newsfeed and pro. Rather than me trying to quote it from memory, FDA calls for investigation into the controversial Alzheimer's drug approval. There you go. It's from Stat News. Stat News is very credible. So watching Biogen on that regulatory headline. And Chris Opedi is here, which is great.
Whoa!
I'm about to go with everyone else to the bar.
You leaving me, Spence?
So, well, I'm leaving you not alone though. I wouldn't do that to you. I asked Chris. I said, Chris, I just called him just now. I said, Chris, can you come on? And he said, sure. So here he is.
But then you're gonna hop off the second I come on. What's up with that, Spencer?
Well, Chris was mad at me because he trivia. Wait, I have an air horn, don't I?
I'm the air horn.
Wait, I have an air horn. It's not plugged in.
You got one? Oh,
yeah,
no. We're not cool enough yet.
What's up, Mitch?
What's up, Chrissy?
How we doing? It's Friday.
Impromptu SPACs attack.
Oh, man. What's going on? I heard you guys talking about Space Virgin Galactic. Spencer, how about those space ETFs, ROKT and UFO? They both have sizable positions in Virgin Galactic. So I know Monday we're going to see some movement in those.
I've got a very, very small, like I think my smallest position of everything is UFO. I literally own like.
I mean, you're trying to go to the moon with it, right? Or at least maybe Mars.
I might own like 10 shares of UFO. Like it is a small position. So, but I do own it. So
10 shares goes a long way.
Going to the moon with the rest of y'all.
See you at Mars, man. See you at Mars.
I want to have a great weekend. Money Mitch.
Enjoy it.
With Chrisopedia. And then Brad Weber on after that.
Have a shot for me, Spencer.
Bye, Spencer. Have a good one.
All right. Chris, we never see you in the office. You don't even live that far away, man.
You know, I got called out by Raz and Luke during the meeting today that I haven't been there yet. So definitely planning a trip. So maybe the next couple weeks. So yeah. I'm like 2.5 hours away, so I just got to figure out a day, make the drive, and I can hang out with you guys. We can do live stream from the office. So
I think you can do it in 2 hours. You could probably do it in 2 hours.
Probably. I mean, I used to when I'd go to Lions games, and could make it in 2 hours. So
right. All right. Have fun, guys. Yeah, Roman, smash that like. See you guys on Monday. Who knows what will happen? Mm-hmm.
You went to the Lions game?
I used to have Lions season tickets, Mitch. And believe it or not, I had Lions season tickets, and then the kids came along, and it turned into too much of a price and a time thing. I mean, I used to tailgate. We'd leave at 6 a.m. on Sunday. Ooh. We'd tailgate before the game, go to the game. So you're talking gone 6 a.m. till 7 or 8 at night. So that's a long day. When you got kids and Sunday's one of your days off. So, but yeah, no, I loved it. I loved the tailgating experience definitely too. So
definitely. So let's go ahead and what's up? What's up with you, Chris? Are you looking at any stocks, anything that's been lately on your radar, any kind of areas you're looking at?
Yeah. I made a couple purchases today. So one of them, I bought some call options in IGT, International Game Technology. This is one I'm seeing more people talk about, on Twitter. It's kind of a reopening play, right, with casinos, reopening. They also have the online verticals. They've got some sports betting verticals. They've got a lottery vertical, a lot of moving parts there. I also think it's a sympathy play. We have SGMS, Scientific Games, talking about selling or spinning off their lottery business. I heard you talking about sports betting. We talk about sports betting a lot. I think outside of just pure play sports betting, you're going to see the online, lottery and the casino space kind of heat up a little bit too. And that's where like IGT and SGMS, I think, look attractive here. Mitch, I saw Rush Street Interactive getting mentioned as a buyout target today on Twitter by one of the top traders out there. And I'll say that's something we've been talking about, for months on SPAX Attack, right? That they have that technology stack. They've got access to states. So, I agree with you. I think sports betting is going to get hot here, and I think we're going to start to see that consolidation coming. So definitely. The other one, Mitch, I bought. I finally did it. I said, I was looking at it for a while. Well, not a while, but because it just went public. But I bought a small position in Krispy Kreme today. D-Nut.
The D-Nuts.
It's probably going to be a swing trade, but again, it's starting to get mentioned out there by lots of people, and I think the appeal is going to be there, and I think it's going to be an active one next week. So again, probably not a long-term hold at this price, but I did enter a position in that one. So, and then of course, looking at the space stocks, right? I own several of the space SPACs. I'm really looking forward to this flight on Sunday. I just actually wrote an article about how to watch the Virgin Galactic flight. So it'll be aired at 9 a.m. on Sunday on their website, on their YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. And, Mitch, the singer Khalid, he is actually premiering a new single at the launch event. You're talking about Khalid, who has 5 million Twitter followers. He tweeted that out today. He also is a best-selling artist. Also, Stephen Colbert is actually hosting the coverage of the launch. So, they're turning this into a whole spectacle, right? they're going to have lots of eyes on this event, Mitch. And again, not to sound morbid, I said this yesterday, I just truly believe there's not as many risks as people think, because otherwise I just don't think Sir Richard Branson would be going up to space, on this flight. So I highly expect it to be successful. But again, we saw shares down 7% today. But, I'm holding a position through the weekend because I expect that successful flight on Sunday. What do you think?
I'll tell you, there's one person that I think is not that it's not successful, but that somehow it gets delayed. Let's just say my man Bezos. It's like, come on, man. Like, how you doing that to me,
They
Branson?
stole his thunder. They completely stole his thunder.
They did it so bad. Chris, we were talking about it for a while.
Right? As soon as they got the clearance. Yep.
He's been wanting to go, but really, we know what pushed it over the limit. We know what pushed them to being like, He pulled the old Jason Raznick. We're not waiting no more, guys.
Yeah, he said, why isn't this done?
He said, hold on. What happened here?
Don't make a plan. Just do it, right?
Yeah, I could see that. A little route for a pre-flight inspection. I can't blame him. But, hey, really, at the end of the day, what we're going to start seeing is, I think we're going into the new space race, right? I think this is something that's very interesting. I know that I was always interested as a kid looking back at the old space race going to the moon and thinking, what happened? Why did we stop at the moon, right? I mean, the whole idea was to continue this. And now we're looking at going to places like Mars, making a space station on the moon. I mean, there's going to be some crazy things going on in space. I mean, I've heard of space mining in the future. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, the endless potential that we have out there is definitely going to be something to watch for in the next generation. And let's say for like you, Chris, that have kids, they're definitely going to be enjoying the space race. I think it's something to keep a watch on. There's a reason why I like space, and I think it's definitely something to have some stock in for, let's say, a 10-year outlook. Because in 10 years, where that can be and where some of these companies can go, I mean, it's endless. I mean, just imagine if we could, drill in space, if we can be having like we've talked about SRAC, the FedEx of space. So, I mean, we're just getting into the new one.
ASTS, right? 5G from space. I mean, we have pretty good connections, right? Like, I have a pretty good cell phone provider. I get service, pretty much everywhere. But imagine never having to worry about that, right? You have a 5G plan, from AST Mobile. If they can really accomplish what they're seeking out to do, we're going to have 5G worldwide, in markets and areas that you never would expect would have 5G in the next decade. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And yeah, I'm not going to space anytime soon, but, the fact that you can, go up to space, even if just for a couple minutes, and just take in. I mean, we've seen the videos, we've seen the views, but to really like be there in person, I just can't even imagine, what that could be like. And, Mitch, you mentioned having space exposure. So I own, several of these companies that have gone public via SPAC in my portfolio. But, as I mentioned when I joined, we've got UFO and ROKT, both, pure play space ETFs. I won't mention that other space ETF because I don't think it's a pure play on space. Let's just say when you're including Netflix and John Deere. But anyways, I just think, your portfolio should have a little exposure to space because I think it's just a high growth market. And, I'm excited to see how this plays out. And I want to invest in it because I think it's part of the future here.
All right. So one company that I'm starting to look into, and I don't think it's going to be a massive gainer, but I just like the chart. We're bouncing off the bottom of it. And I think in the long run, I'm waiting to see what really happens with concerts and NFTs. I think that's really a massive, massive use. I know a lot of people talk about it, but I still have yet to see someone really master it. Let's say I've talked about it. I think all tickets should move to NFTs just because at that point, you actually have some value to your ticket once you get out of the concert. Let's say you had a limited edition amount, like of the first 100 tickets are a different color, things like that. All are the things that people are going to want. Let's say you have a front row seat, you get a different NFT than anybody else. Boom. Now you only have 10 of those tickets or something like that. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of different kind of developing plays coming into NFTs with artists. One of the ways that I'm looking for it to really be used is in concerts. So right now I'm looking at Madison Square Garden Entertainment, really bouncing off that bottom of that 83. It's interesting to me because I think it can go right back towards that high eventually of 121. And with the reopening and kind of how we've had, I mean, I've seen sports, man. These stadiums are packed. Right? It's not like they're holding back capacity anymore. So I'm wondering, what do you think, Chris, about New York and Madison Square Garden Entertainment also has other venues, but we're talking mainly Madison Square here.
Yeah, I like this one. Mitch, I wish I would have bought Madison Square Garden, the company, years ago before it spun off its different units, right? We've got sports, we've got entertainment, we had media, but media actually just became part of entertainment again. I think that closed today. So, I love all parts of Madison Square Garden because let's face it, the Knicks, the Rangers, they're two of the most well-known and highest valued teams. But this peer play here, you've got, the arena. So you've got the reopening of sports next year, right? Full capacity for Knicks games, Rangers games, their other events. You've got the concerts. I mean, Madison Square Garden, one of the most iconic arenas in the world. Imagine, not just owning a ticket, but an NFT, like Mitch said, where only people who go to the concert can get that NFT. Mitch, I love that point about, a first row ticket. So maybe, when I used to go to concerts all the time, right, you had different pricing tiers, right? You had like your floor seats, you had your lower bowl, your upper bowl. What if those are different rarities of NFTs? Mitch, great point there. And, Madison Square Garden, if you're listening, boom. I mean, that's a moneymaker right there to have the different levels of the NFTs. I also like Live Nation, right? LYV. We've talked about 100%. That one before. Let's face it, when it comes to concerts and tickets, whether we like to admit it or not, Ticketmaster has a near monopoly on the market, right? So if anyone's going to make money off of tickets, being NFTs, I think Live Nation benefits. The stock is pretty up there to where it was down during the pandemic. So I worry a little bit now of if there's more room to run. But I think as soon as, the CEO was on a show yesterday talking about how all concerts are ready to go. And I think you're going to see some interest in this one next week. So two great stocks there, Madison Square Garden Entertainment and Live Nation. I think both capitalize on the NFT and the reopening together, simultaneously.
And just for a quick comment here, just to kind of get more conversational, what do you think about NFTs overall? One of the things is we got a big boom out the beginning, and I think that would be, you could say 2-3 months ago at the beginning of the year. And now we've seen them die down a little bit. Do you think we're going to get another NFT wave? Because it's definitely on the horizon, right?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think the big thing right now is the collectibility. So on Benzinga's Moon or Bust show, they had on G Money the other day. He actually talked about, buying a CryptoPunk for like $20,000 and then selling it for $1.4 million. You're seeing these new NFTs pop up. There's a newer one called Cool Cats. Where they've tripled in price. Mike Tyson just bought one yesterday, and Jay-Z bought a CryptoPunk a couple weeks ago. You're seeing celebrities now buy the NFTs, and it's not so much the NFTs like a Top Shot where it's a video. It's the NFTs where it can become your digital avatar, your profile picture for social media. The thing that really stuck out to me, that G Money interview, was him talking about how he saw the value in NFTs when he played Fortnite, and immediately people started asking him, what skins do you own? And he said, why would I own any skins? They don't give me a competitive advantage. but yet people were spending tons of money on skins just to differentiate their character.
I've talked about that.
I mean,
right there.
That's huge, right? Because that's the thing, you know, whether there's actual value in them, it's something people want. And that's what makes value, right? It is supply and demand. And I think demand is coming back for NFTs, Mitch. You know, and I think the concerts vertical would be a great one. We've already seen sports, you know, NFTs be successful. You know, but yeah, I think NFTs are going to get hot again. The biggest thing is to figure out which ones, you know, you want to be in because you like them, or which ones may, you know, become more valuable, because there are going to be some that go down in value because there's so many out there. But I just think the market's still huge for them. So
definitely. I think it's kind of like what you first got when crypto started being big. It was first, everybody started looking at Bitcoin. Then a whole bunch of altcoins started coming out. You started seeing some different ones take off, like let's say Litecoin, Ethereum started really coming into play. I think that's what you need to look for. There's going to be winners and losers. The same thing we mentioned on SPACs Attack. It's the same way. Whenever you have these booms and busts, what happens is that there's going to be winners and losers, and that's normal. I mean, there wasn't winners and losers and everything just went to winners. I mean, everyone would just load the boat, throw their house in the stock market and not care. But that's not the way it works. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is that we have seen NFTs kind of used in different instances, but really like what you were saying in the use case there, and what I think is always the uses is to signify and have something that I can have, and let's say Chris cannot. Because at the end of the day, we want stuff like that in our lives, because what it does is it also signifies personality. Let's say certain people are willing to go ahead and get an emoji NFT because that's who they are as a person. And they feel they're willing to go ahead and spend that money for that. And so I think it's always about those personalizations. Video games always has that attributes. Let's just say gun games. Why can't I have a gun that no one else can have? I think that is as simple as that. I think, like you said, skins. There's going to be so many different ways that we're going to definitely see NFTs be used. And I think one of the best ways is always going to be towards the younger crowd that wants to signify and show their personality. And any way they can do so that they can get something that you can't have, I think signifies that move.
Mitch, there were a couple good comments in the chat here. I just want to hit on quick. Someone, I don't even remember, it was a little ways up, talking about Amazon stock split. So they asked and said, So let's picture that for a minute. That's a great point, Anthony. That let's picture Virgin Galactic having a successful spaceflight Sunday, shares go up a bunch Monday. If this really is a competitive race, and again, Bezos isn't the CEO anymore, but maybe Amazon, decides to do a stock split to take away, that success from Virgin Galactic. Again, highly competitive area here. I think that's an interesting point and something to watch. And then Mitch, the other one, beginner trading in the chat, our friend talking about EDR Endeavor.
I was going to go to it. Let's go to it.
Yeah. So we have a fight this weekend, right? And not just any fight. We've got Conor McGregor, right? One of the biggest names in UFC. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't watch, what a great pre-fight weigh-in and stuff already, the meeting. And I mean, this thing is hyped up, right? They're ready to go. They want to beat each other.
I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over.
But so this is really like the first big UFC event since Endeavor went public, right? Endeavor now owns 100% of UFC. They used to only own, a portion of it, but they bought it out. Then they went public. This is a big deal. And, great call out there in the chat. Mitch, this one could run next week because, analysts are going to be talking about it. You're going to see media talking about it, right? We're going to be talking about it, because the success of the event can now be translated to shareholders. It's an investable opportunity. Whereas before you hear, the McGregor fight, did X number of pay-per-views, and it was like, oh, that's great. Well, now that means something as investors. So I think that's a good point. And also Endeavor, they're a reopening play too, because they own several properties, they manage properties, and also, Mitch, yeah, a huge thing, and I can't believe I didn't do an article on this yet. College sports, right? Name, image, likeness, right? Got passed where now they can make money. Endeavor is one of the largest owners of college licensing rights. So some of these players, to do those deals and include their team name, logo, and colors, they may have to get a sign off on that. Endeavor could actually benefit from all these deals being signed by college athletes. What do you think of that?
I mean, there's plenty of different things that are going to come from that college athletes kind of move, whether it be like you're definitely going to see some bigger companies step in there and start dipping their toes in something that they used to not be able to really do. Right. And so I think that's going to be watched, but you're right on the UFC. And then one of the things that I would point out is that the UFC is definitely getting to the point. I mean, they didn't even stop. They didn't want to stop, at least in the pandemic. And I think they're going to really be working towards filling up arenas. As we've seen UFC going into bigger and bigger arenas as they keep trying to do these bigger events, right? And so I think that's something to keep your eyes out on EDR. Whether it be this fight or the next one that's really big, look for those big fights to eventually bring catalysts to the stock itself. Because I think like let's say Madison Square Garden, you can do in London, you can do so many kind of international fights where you can get these massive arenas and then fill it all up. So definitely, I think that's something you got to pay attention to, because I think it's important to watch them and see how they're trying to build on the sport. Are they trying to keep doing these big title fights, or are they trying to more along just build the sports by these new fighters coming up?
Yeah, all great points. I think UFC, it's a huge brand. As you said, they didn't want to stop, right? They kept going. So it was one of those things that was still going during the pandemic. They've got sports betting deals signed. They partnered with DraftKings, and as you said, yeah, they can fill any arena. They've got NFTs coming, hopefully, in the future. They actually have a partnership with Dapper, the company that does NBA Top Shot. So, speaking of NFTs, you've got a relationship there too. So I hadn't even thought about EDR, today until we just heard about that in the chat, Mitch. But man, this one looks good going into the weekend, and maybe one of those ones where I regret not buying come Monday. So might have to take a look at this right now.
All right, to wrap it up, guys, we're just going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some outdoor plays that maybe I can look back on and be like, don't. Because it happens. It happens to all traders. I mean, out there, especially when you're involved in the market so much, you're always going to go back and see trades and be like, man, that should have been definitely something I could have jumped on. And what I like to do about these, it's not necessarily get mad about it, but understand what was the thinking, what was the social aspect, where was the story, and how you can possibly find the next one to do a move like this. Because that's what it's all about, right? I mean, we're never going to be 100% right. But one thing we can do is look at this stock, man. From 1346 in the pandemic, DKS, Dix, all the way up to over $100 now. I mean, what a massive move. Maybe you didn't get it in the pandemic, but maybe at least you were going into the summer months that this could get a lift. And look at it just right here from April 1st. April, you're talking about $80 going up to $100 into the summer months. These are very simple kind of moves that I think people sometimes miss just because they're looking for a harder play versus looking at what could be cyclical and come into play. So what do you think about moves like that, Chris, that I think are kind of more an easier move to get into than a lot of times where you see a lot of traders being like, oh, I need to find the next Wish or something like that?
Yeah, I think, Dix is one of those companies where, during the pandemic, people questioned whether it was going to survive. And they turned the pandemic into an opportunity to kind of revamp their business, right? They put a heavy focus on, omni-channel, right? Into e-commerce, into pickup at store, and they leveraged their strong relationships with some of the big apparel companies like your Nike, your Under Armour, and others. And, they also benefited from the outdoor trade, right? Because, they have this huge space where they're able to sell, camping gear, kayaks, hiking gear. And that stuff just, it dominated during the pandemic, right? We saw where you couldn't buy some of that stuff in stores or online because the demand was so high. So, Dick's is a company that really benefited from that. Another one, ELY, Callaway, is one of those stocks where, Mitch, I wish I would have bought it, when I first started looking at it, because it's, more than doubled since then. Another one where the pandemic became a benefit for them, right? When other people couldn't do certain sports, golf was one of the sports where people could do because it's social distanced, right? So they benefited from a boom in golf apparel. And, so I heard you talking about, specialty retailers a couple shows this week.
Yeah.
Again, you don't just look at one sector and say, okay, who are the biggest players in this sector? Look at some of the subsectors, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of looking at, your Macy's, your JC Penney, your some of the big ones, right? Or your Walmarts or your Cost. Look at some of the subsectors, right? Who are the ones that are going to benefit from certain, small markets where they're dominant in one area? And that's what you had in Dick's. That's what you had in Callaway. They dominate subsectors of the retail segment. That's what I think on those.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. One that I wanted to check that I haven't seen the chart in a while or talked about, Lululemon. Look at that. What does that show you right there? That's called a summer run.
That's a nice move. That's a lot of green. Run.
And you know what happened down here? You know what happened down here? That had to be there had to be a sale or something. They had to throw a sale in there, start getting people hyped. Look at that change in trend. These are the kind of moves that I look for, guys. You got to stick with the stories. You got to stick with what potentially could come into play, especially social-wise, what you're seeing come into play. And I think a lot of the times people miss moves like this just because they're not thinking about it. One that I've called out for a while that I'm going to continue thinking to see the move up is Match. And I don't even have to guess. Like I go to the chart and I almost expect it up, Chris, just because at the end of the day, what ends up happening is stories grabs control, guys. I think this one's just running based off of a summer push into downloads, probably. I'm sure if you're looking at the downloads, you're starting to see dating apps start picking up versus how they did in the pandemic. Because who was trying to get COVID from a date?
Yeah, I don't think that's a good way to meet someone, right?
Yeah,
to go on a date, and run the risk of, okay, who have they been around? Where have they been? Where do they work? Also, where were you going on dates, right? When you couldn't go to restaurants, to bars, to the movies, to some of these places.
To AMC, but now you can.
Yeah. So, you were what? You were going to a park and standing 6 feet away from each other. So, I think the online dating stuff, even if the revenue isn't there, Mitch, I think you're right that the downloads are going to be there, and we're going to see some data on that. And that's the story, right? You talk story, the story's going to be the downloads. And as soon as we get some of those download numbers, I think you're right here with Match.
For that being said, I would look at like Avis. I could see that one being another lift. These are how I kind of think, guys. You just got to look around. Like, don't be so much about what stock. Sometimes I ask myself, I'm not trying to go micro to macro. I'm trying to go macro to micro approach. And I think that's always the best way. Like, think about yourself. Like, what industry could get hot? Then I'll look at those stocks that are there, look at those charts to find the stock that's looking good. That's my technical. And then I'm using some story to get into the right industry. And then I'll go into the financials of those companies to find the best looking one. And that's what I think is a better approach. It's not to say that that's the only way to trade, but I think at least for me, that's the way that I've really gotten to the point where I have found winners. I saw a question earlier, what's the next NEGG? I don't know. I wish I did know. But one thing I can do is find industries, find the stock that's setting up, then bring the stock to you guys. And then from that point, it's up to you guys to try to find it out and learn from the process yourself. Do your industry analysis, do your sector analysis, and work backwards versus forward. I think it definitely has helped me get better at being on trend and with the socials.
Yeah, definitely. Mitch, it looks like we got a super sticker out there.
Boom, boom. Let's get to it.
Yeah,
let's
do that. So Body, I do still own a small position in Body. I sold my warrants pre-deal because they were up a ton, right? This one got beat down. It went below the $10, a week or so after the merger was completed, but it's starting to come back up. I said, again, they've got a great ticker, right? BODY. Mm-hmm. They've got strong interest from retail. And also, I mean, they've got a good brand, right? And a good network of, content. I think this one starts to see some action next week. What do you think? I mean, I'm seeing the trend looking like it's coming back up here.
Yeah, one thing I would say is, Chris, I got to be honest, man. I'm a Beachbody member.
Are you a Beachbody member?
Yes, I have subscription. I have a
Here
subscription.
We go.
So
now we gotta get the bikes. We gotta get the
yes. I want the mixed fitness. I want to change Joel over from Peloton.
Yep.
No, but definitely, I thought it was interesting. I checked it out. I got a free trial for anyone out there that wants to check it out. I'll give my man Carl some due diligence.
There you go. Shout out, Carl. Shout out.
Yeah. He told me to take a class with him. I'm taking him up on that.
I don't think I could keep up with him. I'd be scared to take a class.
I'm telling you, I started working out a little bit. I got to work out a little bit before I.
That guy can go. Oh man.
Let's go, Carl. But definitely, I think you're right. This is definitely a stock that eventually, I think, will catch that social trend. We've had those pops before, and the moment we get those pops, Chris and I have both seen on Twitter those reactions and how the socials. They light up with a stock like this. Same thing you see on reactions, a lot of the Reddit stocks. What it is that you get this kind of light up reaction where the stock makes a big move. And instead of people talking about that it's an extended move, you get people talking about how they just want to get into that stock. They just want to get into that stock. Where is it? Where is it? And then so those are the types of stocks that I think in the long run can definitely come back roaring, especially when you got a stock like this that does have some backing. I like the management team, and if Shaq can come on, start doing some other things with it, I think you could definitely see it getting pushed. Body is definitely a ticker that gets picked up. I mean, if Wolf can run, I'm just waiting also for the Rover switch over, because I think that's another one that could possibly be one of those ticker ones. We've been seeing tickers just run literally a lot of times. You get these tickers to just take off just based off the ticker.
Yeah, and also that comment right there. I mean, being shorted to the ground, 32% short. I don't know if that data is correct. I mean, there's a lot of information out there on what percent of companies are short. But I will say from the data I saw, I mean, even dating back to when this thing was FRX, it was one of the most shorted SPACs out there. So I would not doubt that. And, once retail gets a hold of the fact that Body is heavily shorted, again, I just think it runs. So I'm still holding that small position. And I think next week or the week after could be the one to go.
All right. I'll definitely keep on watch. I saw in the chat mentioned Genius. I'm just keeping an eye on that one. I've made my profit and I've lost twice on it. I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, my profit was a 70% gain. My losses were 5 and 10%. So I'm okay with that, losing 15, gaining 70. But to me, I'll have to wait again until I start seeing another catalyst run into
when does Shaq's Garage premiere? I was just
next year, okay. Brother, next year. That's the problem with that one.
I'm still in Genius, but like Mitch, I also lost on it before. I had call options last year that expired worthless at the end of the year. So I've had good and bad luck with Genius. So I am long right now. But my kids love that kindergarten
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Superhero Kindergarten. I mean, they asked to watch it, and that they're also adding new content to that cartoon channel that they own. I mean, my kids want to watch other kids play Minecraft and Roblox all the time, right? And they have content on there. So
boom.
I think that's a catalyst too for them. So
yeah. And then another thing I think that to mention is that you can get this channel a lot of the times just free on a lot of platforms.
It's free to download, and you can get it on different streamers. So
yeah, it's on Roku, and let's say for like the family that doesn't have cable. Perfect example of a family that I can see using this consistently, especially you got small kids. I mean, you just put this on, you say, all right, well, I don't need to go and spend the money on Comcast. I got cartoons right here. So definitely it's something to keep on watch. We'll go ahead and, like always, bring you guys a story here on Benzinga. This is what we like to do, guys. This is the end of the week. We like to talk a little bit about some stories, look at some stocks. Hit us up on Twitter if you ever got a question. Chris right there, you guys see at Chris Ketchy or Story Investors. Like always, hit the subscribe below. We definitely like to have fun, guys. We normally do nothing but subscribers only on Fridays. So if you want to be joining, definitely hit the subscribe button and let's keep building. If you guys have something that you guys want to see done, maybe a show that we don't have that you guys want to see more in depth on, hit us up in the comments after. That's literally what I do, guys. If there's something out there that you guys need done and you guys want to see more of, let me know and I'll make it happen here. Like always, Chris, I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the family.
Brother. You too, brother, and I'll be watching that flight on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So don't forget.
I know you in beginner trading aren't going to miss that fight.
Yeah, and we got that fight. So EDR, I might have to go look at that right now, Mitch.
We'll see what happens. We'll see if Connor still has a little bit of fighting left in him.
Connor's the underdog I saw in betting, so I might have to look at that angle too. So
hey, we'll definitely have to take a look. I wish there was a bet, and I'm going to try to find it, Chris. You got to tell me if you find it. If there's a prop for Branson making it or not. I would love to find out. I would love to find out.
I'll have to look at that. But Mitch, the other one is the MLB All-Star Game, Ohtani, Home Run Derby, Monday night. Let's go.
You're literally getting me to wing it, Chris. I'm going to have to go to a new platform, get some risk-free money. You know how I like to do my thing.
Yep.
I'll get some risk-free money from some other platform. I'll throw it on the line. Let's go put some money on a big boy lefty in Coors Field. I think that's going to be fun to watch. Definitely, guys, check it out. Up next, you guys are going to have an option show and also stocks. Definitely check it out. Brad Weber definitely knows his thing. Yeah,
Stay tuned, guys.
You can learn something from Brad. I've watched a couple of Brad shows, so definitely stay tuned. That's coming up in about 17 minutes, guys. So if you want to stick around and watch some more content, definitely stick around. If not, we'll be back. And stay tuned on Sunday, guys. Sunday, I want to make a special shout out here. Sunday, we got a brand new show that's going to be coming out. So I want you guys to check it out. It's going to be fun. One of the things that we're trying to do is definitely diversify and get some other shows out there. Chris and I are pretty, but unfortunately, we're not the best, prettiest people on the FinTwit.
And we can't be on all day. I mean, as much as I'd like to be. So yeah, tell us about this show. I saw a preview of this, and it looks super exciting, Mitch.
Yeah, it's going to be a show called Mind, Money, and Method. And one of the things that I really like is that this person does strategies that normally you don't see talked about a lot. Like, let's say a shadow fill or a gap fill. These are patterns that I actually love. I can actually show you guys one right now. One that I'm still upset that I didn't take it. Not Salesforce. What's the other one? Oracle here. Look at this chart. Look at this gap fill. You see that gap right there?
Yep.
Look at that fill. That's what we're talking about. These are the kind of strategies that you're going to see on this show. So I think definitely check it out, guys. Mind, Money, Method coming to you 8 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. Stay tuned. It's going to be with a guest. They're going to talk about strategy. I think that's a very important thing. You're going to start hearing from different traders. She's going to definitely take you in depth on their strategy and also talk a little bit about her as she's learning and continuing to develop her skill. Check it out, guys. Swing Pony and Mind, Money, Method. And we'll see you guys Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Stay tuned for Brad Weber coming up next. Money Mitch.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay.